Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today we have a getting started with video for you focusing on the Soulblight Gravelords and in particular the Avengorii Dynasty. What's great about Soulblight Gravelords is they do have a bunch of fantastic sub-factions and they're all led by different leaders. You've got named characters in each of the different sub-factions, enabling them to all have a very sort of specific place in the lore. The Avengorii Dynasty is, though, a Soulblight Gravelords army, so you do get everything that you would get out of a Soulblight Gravelords army normally, you know, all the summoning, the grave sites, etc., all of those abilities. However, they perhaps don't make full use of those particular abilities just based on what the sub-faction is trying to get you to build towards. So this sub-faction is one thing really and one thing only, and that it is a monster-focused sub-faction. This is all about taking the biggest, meanest monsters that the Soulblight Gravelords have to offer and smashing them into your opponent's face. For starters, we get the Cursed Abominations rule, which allows us to sort of give some mount traits to our Terrorgeists and Zombie Dragons. And then we also get the Monstrous Might, where our opponent has to subtract 1 from their wound rolls for attacks made against any of our monsters in the force, unless they are also a monster. And we also get Unstoppable Nightmares, which in the combat phase we can pick one friendly Terrorgeist, Zombie Dragon, or Vampire monster to unleash its monstrous power. If you do so until the end of that phase, use the top row of that monster's damage table, instead of, you know, however wounded it is. So pretty cool. All of this is just making our monsters that much better. A lot of our command traits, abilities, and all that sort of stuff that come along with the sub-faction really do help push us towards playing this monster-heavy way, and it's great. It's a great way to enable us to play that particular style of the army, and I like that Soulblight Gravelords does a really good job of allowing all these different play styles throughout the book with the different sub-factions. With that all said though, let's go into looking at how we can start building up this particular sub-faction. Make no mistake, this sub-faction might not be the cheapest option to get into Soulblight Gravelords to start with, but it probably might be one of the cheaper ones to get into over time, as you're going to need less models. So to start with, I recommend going and picking up a Avengorii Lord model. This model is the absolute marmite of models. Some people love it, some people absolutely hate it. For me, I'm personally a massive fan of the model, and I do think it's got some really cool rules that it can offer. For starters, it does enable you to sort of ignore Rend 1 around it in a little aura at the start of the game, and so things in combat with it aren't going to be doing as much damage as they normally would otherwise. It's also got some really cool abilities. It can heal, and it also has access to give itself some other abilities, such as run and charge. However, it can't do its heals if it does, as it sort of loses control. This is a really cool set of rules, I think. Maybe it's not the most competitive monster out there, but I really do like how these rules make you feel that the longer the battle goes on, the more the bloodlust overtakes this monster, the more crazed and ferocious it gets. You've got the hunger, so you've also got access to heals outside of your command ability, which is really cool. And you've got a really cool spell in Clotted Deluge, which enables you to add 1 to the wound rolls for melee weapons for a particular target unit, which could be this monster itself, dropping a lot of its brackets down to needing 2s to wound, and there's some ways where we can get some rerolls in there as well. Next up, I recommend picking up 2 of the Zombie Dragon and Terrorgeist kits. What's great about this kit? Well, in the Avengorii Dynasty, Zombie Dragons and Terrorgeists both become battle line options, only the unmounted versions that is, but still that's allowing you to take an all monster army straight off the bat. For me, I do prefer the Terrorgeists. Those Zombie Dragons are cool and they do have some abilities that Terrorgeists don't. I do think Terrorgeists are just a little bit better for me. Their Scream attack is really great, with a lot of low bravery armies actually hitting the tables at the moment. Things like Lumineth and Caradron aren't as high bravery as you'd expect, and don't forget they lose their bravery once they start using the resources like Aether Quartz and their Aether Gold shares. So that's something to keep in mind. Terrorgeists will do well against them, but maybe not quite as well as against some Demon armies and Seraphon, which have generally high bravery. With that all said though, this is a great way to start up your force. You could easily go for an Avengorii Lord, 1 Terrorgeist, 1 Zombie Dragon. That's a great little starting force. It's going to have you some amazing models to paint. Avengorii Lord looks like it would be an absolute joy to paint, and the Terrorgeist and Zombie Dragons are really fun kits to paint as well. So where can we go to next? Now, the options for this particular sub-faction are maybe a little bit limited because you're really trying to get the most out of the monsters that Soulblight Gravelords have to offer, and there's not that many particular different things you can go and grab. However, I will start off by talking about Luca Vi, the Mother of Nightmares. She is the alternative named character variation that you can get for the Avengorii Lord. She's an absolutely fantastic model to start with, so if that's not enough reason to go and grab her, let's start talking about her rules. For starters, she only costs a few more points, like literally 5 more points than Avengorii Lord, and she gets some cool abilities on top. She's got the ability where if she rolls a charge roll, she can then roll a number of dice equal to the charge, and then for every 5+, she does some mortal wounds when she charges. She's got an extra wound on her profile as well, and she's also got the ability of Nightmare Miasma, much like the general one, where she's got, the 3-inch bubble around her, which reduces rend. And then at the start of hero phase, she can choose to sort of get run and charge, but she can't use her command ability instead. Her command ability is different than Avengorii Lords though. She gives +1 to hit to all Soulblight Gravelord monsters around her. So this is another buff that actually can go really well alongside the Avengorii Lord, being able to, I guess, give some heals. This could work. She probably serves as much more of a support character role than the Avengorii Lord does, I think. She's got a spell as well, which is a great spell. Anything that affects movement is massive, I think. And so she's got Death's Downpour. Its casting value of 8 and successfully cast charge rolls made for enemy units within 12 inch of her are halved. This could be massive. This is huge, especially with some of the rumors of things coming in Age of Sigmar 3.0. This could be an absolutely amazing command ability to have access to on the table. Next up, we've got the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. Now, he is exactly what he's always been. He's a monster that's going to go in and going to go smash stuff. He's got some cool abilities where he gets access to some heals, but really, he's all about just going in and smash. He's a little bit more survivable with a few more wounds than a Avengorii Lord or Luca Vi, but in general, his job, go in, smash. That is exactly what you're going to get out of a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. Now, obviously, if you're going to plan to build this army up to 2,000 points, you're going to want more battle lines, so grabbing another Zombie Dragon or Terrorgeist is definitely not a bad shout at all. They're going to be the main units you're going to be using as your battle line, though I would suggest potentially with this army going and having a look at things like zombies, Fellbats, Skeleton Warriors and all that to give you some numbers in the force, because they're definitely going to be something you lack in this force, is not only numbers of models on the table, but also numbers of units on the table. So finding those cheap little units you can go around to hold objectives with while your big monsters go smash is something you definitely want to go looking at. Alright, so we've got a little sample army list here of the Avengorii Dynasty. This one's going to come to 965 points. It's really hard to try and fill up those points properly when you've got a few big models as sort of your main fighting force. However, this is definitely something we're going to have a look at doing. So we've got a Avengorii Lord who's going to be our general. He's going to have the command trait an eye for an eye, and what this does is when he takes a wound in combat, he then gets +1 damage on all his weapons. This can really turn his weapons up. He's also going to have the artifact Gorvar's Collar, which allows him to, once per game, reroll wound rolls of 1. Now, this combined with his spell is going to allow us to get most of his profile up to 2s rerolling 1s. So this could be really great. Really just turn up the damage, especially if he's already taken a wound, means he could be +1 damage as well. So that could be something really great. Spell, Amethystine Pinions, an absolute great spell from the Lore of the Vampires. This is going to give him an extra 6 inch to his move, enabling him to get where he needs to be more and more often and easier. For Battle Line, we're going to have 2 Terrorgeists. Now, one of them is going to have the Cursed Mutation, Urges of Atrocity. We get access to one of this, Urges of Atrocity. Once per battle, we get run and charge on this Terrorgeist. So that's going to allow us to throw a Terrorgeist forward and just go absolutely smash. Remembering we can also cast Amethystine Pinions on a Terrorgeist, meaning that can have +6 inch move and run and charge on a Terrorgeist, meaning we've got a great distraction Terrorgeist turn 1, throwing it in at our opponent. Our other battle line unit will be another Terrorgeist. This one just going to stay out with Avengorii Lord and just go smash face with him. For our other units, we've chosen a unit of 3 Fellbats. Now, you could easily choose to put in, say, some Skeleton Warriors, some Zombies, or some other thing here. But for me, I really like the idea of Fellbats. The reason why is they've got Fly. Fly is just such an amazing rule in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. They can jump over terrain, they can go capture objectives, and really, if there's 3 models left from one of your Avengorii Lords or Terrorgeists in 1,000 points, they're not doing their job well enough, and you probably should have killed them anyway. So, 3 Battle Bats is just going to be that extra unit that's going to be able to go around, cap objectives, clean up, and get some points for you while your big monsters here are going and cleaning out your opponent's forces. If you're looking at Avengorii Dynasty, I'd love to know what you're looking at, how you're thinking of running it, 1,000 points, 2,000 points, whatever. Let us know how you think you're going to do it and what you particularly like from this particular sub-faction in the comments below. Well, thank you all for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. While you're on YouTube as well, why not go check out my featured channel section where there's a bunch of other fantastic Warhammer Age of Sigmar content creators doing everything from battle reports, lore videos, painting videos, narrative games, tactical videos, and more besides that as well. And if you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by following the link in the description of the video to our Discord server. Lastly though, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Thank you to our patrons, Christian Weir, James Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shop First, James Crowder, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, Tim Newman, The Rising Ape, The Q Dynamic, Augustin Andreas, Lopez Diaz, and Anthony B. And thank you to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Firetine, Steve T, and The Real Zeop. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. If you'd like to help support the channel like they do and help us keep putting out Warhammer Age of Sigmar content and Warhammer content in general, please do go subscribe to Patreon or YouTube members in the description of the video below. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.